We shouldn't be afraid of development. But we have to change attitude to really put our country first. Because I don't want us to, for example, exploiting something, and at the end of the day, people will be wondering, is it the government that is exporting this, and people are poor? You know what my objective is? My objective, by the grace of the Almighty, is that for Gambia to develop to a point where Gambians will be employing outsiders to come and work for them in the Gambia. And Gambians would only go out on holidays to enjoy themselves, if you understand what I mean. Is that attainable? Yes. Is it a far-fetched dream? No, it isn't. We can achieve that in a very short period of time by the grace of the Almighty Allah. That brings me to democracy and good governance. Well, anywhere you go, there is no democracy in the Gambia. Yes. There is no democracy. Democracy where you sit and exploit people, that is not going to happen here. What we have in this country is logocracy, that is ligacracy. You work. Do you understand? Now, there is no good governance. Fair enough. But tell me, where was the good governance and democracy during the 400 years of misrule, British misrule? At the time of independence, weren't we poorer than before they came? Yes. One, they sold our country from a giant. Gambia was one of the biggest countries in Africa in those days. And from a giant, they turned into a lizard. And one of the main attractions of the Europeans to the Gambia was the trade in ivory, which unfortunately is not reflected anywhere in some of these so-called history books. And in 400 years of their presence, they wiped out all the big five. When we say big five in wildlife, we talk about lions, elephants, giraffes, hippos, and rhinos, and buffaloes. There is a hill on the river Gambia. They call it Maluboy Konko. That was where they shot the last elephant in 1958. How many schools did they build? How many roads or hospitals? For 400 years. Is that good governance or bad governance? Now, is that democratic? Throughout that time, no Gambian was voted or allowed to vote to people going to the British Parliament. But that's something else. That's a side issue. Now, then we had 30 years of independence. The status quo remained with cosmetic changes here and there. Now, I think if they think that the West think that they can confuse Africans, but me, they cannot confuse me. Because if there is no good governance, a government that is not practicing good governance will not build schools, will not build infrastructure for the people to enjoy. That government would only be interested in making money. Do you understand? So, 30 years, some of you might have carried, we didn't fall into that category, though we were there. You carried a desk or a chair to school.
We saw that.
Now, in those days, getting a scholarship to a university is not based on what you know, but who you know. We all know that. So, how can anyone sit and say, oh, there's no good governance? Because whatever this government has is for the interest of the people. And that is why, despite all the odds, we were able to make a spectacular achievement over an 18 years period, despite all the odds, thanks to the Almighty Allah and the good Gambian people, and of course, friends of the Gambia. So now, define good governance, and what are the evidence of good or bad governance? As far as I'm concerned, Gambians today are prouder of themselves than they were before. Talking about patriotism, it's a fact that it is a very, very slow process, but it's getting there. But Gambians were bombarded, made to believe that, oh, when you have something important, bring a foreign artist. Still up to now, we're battling that phenomenon. Even though the Gambian musician songs would mean more, and they play better music, but you still have this mental, negative mental attribute ingrained in the psyche of the Gambian. Oh, Grts. Oh, for us to have a big party, you have to invite a foreigner. You pay him 10 times what you're going to give a Gambian, and you play 100 times less, and most of the time would be remixed. Do you understand? He's not going to give you new music. He's not going to give you any new message. In fact, some of those people that we bring, their music doesn't carry any message apart from rubbish talk. But then we still believe that. So it's psychological. You watch neighboring countries' televisions, they would not play one Gambian artist. And you watch Grts, most of these programs are dominated by non-Gambian artists. So that I call Mozart and I tell him, I'm giving you 5 minutes to sort that program. We cannot be dummies anymore. If you don't like my music, why should I promote your music? Why are we promoting foreign artists at the expense of Gambian artists? How do we make them feel? It is a proverb in our family that if your father praises somebody's son in your presence and doesn't praise you, he's telling you are useless. And so he's demoralizing you. And so our national television cannot be used to demoralize Gambian artists. That is not going to happen. Do you understand? So I call him, and then that's why sometimes you see a program on, and all of a sudden they bring something else and then change the program, because I give them 5 minutes to take it off. I always tell him, if there is no Gambian artist, then shut the TV off. But you cannot just have a whole program of maybe 90-minute program and 89 minutes all devoted to foreign artists. It's not going to be. But people have to change their attitude. Why? Because if you have a fundraising event or any big event, do you understand? And bring all the Gambia artists, even if the ticket is cheaper, they will not buy because there is no foreign artists. But we look around, watch, every country has a TV, and now with this DSTV, you can watch almost any country's television, or you have Canal and you have others. Look at all the neighboring countries and tell me one country's national television that plays Gambian music. And then Grts will spend the whole program playing foreign music. I'm happy that you raised this issue. And that's history. I'm not saying we shouldn't play foreign music, but we are not going to play to the detriment of our musicians. Now, we also have to be selective. If they don't play our music, don't play their music. They have a TV, we have our TV. So national has to be national. Do you understand? Yeah, we cannot also calling for integration at our own expense. That's not going to happen. African integration, yes. But integration cannot be a one-way street. We are only governments opening up our borders and everything to foreigners, and there's nobody's reciprocating. We are not going to accept that. So, but Ghanaians also have to change attitude, because I go to any find them drink attire, only what they play is foreign music. That's the reality.